Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? It's John the Ninja live in the dojo, aka the Dojang, aka the John the Ninja Studios, for concert number 25, Rock Allegiance, at the, I believe, Talon Energy Stadium in Chester, PA, Sunday, September 18th. All day fun with Samuel the Prophet. Let me tell you, that was a good day for me. A little difficult for Samuel, and I'll explain why. So, this concert had so many different things happening at one time. One story leads to another story. This story happens to be with that story, so bear with me. This is a long trek throughout the day. So, this concert had a bunch of acts. Had Slayer, had Anthrax, had bloody hell, they had Avenged Sevenfold, Death Angel, Crobot, and I was trying to get backstage, and I thought, okay, who could I interview? Who would let me do an interview? And I was fortunate enough to get the contact for Crobot. I didn't know if I was going to get backstage or not, but I was really dying for an interview. I had the credentials, not. Yeah, I didn't have anything to get me backstage. I just had tickets I got from MMR. Grace of God, I got them. I always say that because there's not a concert I missed ever that God wanted me to see. I firmly believe that. So I got 2 tickets. I asked Samuel the Prophet to go with me, my producer, my friend, my blood brother, part of the crew, and he said yes, not knowing what he was getting himself into. So uh, I go to my boy Steven's house. Now, Stefan is a guy from college that it was a little weird, a little bit of a jerk, but I liked heckling him. I liked being around him. You know, he's an honest dude, and he appreciated the fact that we were at a Christian college. I might be a Christian, not the best Christian, but I was honest. You know, I wasn't sheltered or I didn't believe certain things. So I borrowed his camera, and I will shout out to him because one show that I wish I didn't skip out on was 21 Pilots. He called me one day. I was at home. I was tired. And he said, hey, I got an extra ticket to see 21 Pilots. And I was like, I don't know. At the time, I wasn't a 21 Pilots fan. I was still like a purist, like, I don't listen to them. It was 2016. I wish I knew better. Now I've been listening to Heathens all day long. 2020 was basically me listening to most of their catalog. So I say, hey man, isn't there a girl you want to take to that show? And he's like, well, yeah. I was like, take her, call her, ask her if she wants to go. And they went, they had a great time. He said, thank you. And I was like, cool. So kind of regret it, but it worked out. So shout out to you, Stefan, or Steven, whatever your name is. I say Stefan. He let me borrow his camera just in case I got the interview. I never heard back from Crobot's management about getting it. So I'm like, I don't know if it's going to happen. Same thing, showed up, just go to the show. So me and Samuel walk in. We buy ourselves a brewski, and we proceed to just walk around. Marcus, in the darkest, is there, and he's being, one of the, I don't know what you call the masters of ceremony when you're on stage introducing bands, and you're doing that throughout the whole day. But he was there live. He was doing radio for MMR live from Rock Allegiance, and it was kick-ass. It was great to see these people. Everyone's excited, and if you haven't been to the stadium for the Philadelphia Union, it's really a great place. Uh, Maybe for a concert, maybe for a game. I've been there a few times. I remember when that place first got the Union there, when the Union were a brand new team. Me and my boy Dami, best friend, and I love you too, Ryan. Listen, Ryan is a blood brother as well. Got to throw that out there because he gets mad. It's like, you're my best friend. Am I not your best friend? I'm like, yo, man, we family. Like, don't make this best friends or anything. He's like, no, am I your friend or not? I'm like, whoa, chill, Ryan. I'd die for you. That's a lot. Take that. So me and Dami were there. We saw the Union play. We saw an old coach, old teacher, Mr. Thomas, one of the coolest dudes. Just real nice guy. Led our high school's girls team to, I want to say, 5 championships. That may not be exaggerated. He's a great soccer player and a soccer coach. So continuing on, we're there, and I'm looking for Rabbi. Rabbi is one of the guys that used to work at WMMR. He's the one that got me the internship there. So I see him. I'm like, yeah, we have a brewski, and it's Sunday, which is great. So he can attend it because he's a practicing Jew. And, I'm just so excited. I hadn't seen him maybe 2-3 years at that point. What year was this? 2016? Yeah, I probably hadn't seen him in like a year or two. So, I was just super happy to see him. So now it gets time for the music. So me and Tammy, we're walking around. We're doing our thing, and this band comes out called 100th. I don't know what they did, but they were okay. They're outside. They're not in the stadium. So I'm like, okay. I really wanted to make it a point to see Death Angel. Death Angel was that band I found through a magazine. And I was like, oh, who are these guys? So I want to see these guys live because I have Death Angel Act 3. That's what got me into the band. Having seen their story, heard their story, and now that they've come back, they're even stronger than they were back in the 80s. So I was like, we got to see Death Angel. So we go, and Death Angel comes out and kicks ass. And I was like, this is cool as hell, bro. Death Angel were playing songs off their new album, the Moth album. That's what I call it. So they come out, they play Ultraviolence, 2 Evil Priest, 3 Claws So Deep, 4 To the Wolves, 5 is Left for Dead, and then the song that I took away was like, this is the best kick-ass song, was The Moth. That was it. We saw them, and Samuel and me were hyped, like, hell yeah, man, that was awesome. We need more beer. So we grab another brewski, we're just walking around, and finally Crobot comes out. This is the band I wanted to see. I'm like, I didn't know if I get an interview, but that is the band of the day that I'm waiting for. I have their album, and the song I love from that is Plague of the Mammoths. The bass on that, and this is the coolest sound. You hear the doo-doo-doo. That's actually the feedback. Oh. Something like that. You hear the doo-doo-doo. ESPN sound. Kind of. Anyway, so didn't know if their bassist Jake was going to play. He was sick, and if you guys remember, he's the world's greatest fucking bass player. I saw him with Motorhead, if you saw that video, and I was just really excited to see him do his weird stuff. And of course, Brandon and Bishop and his brother, not Bishop's brother, Jake's brother, they're such a great band. So they're doing sound check. They got the other guy who's currently in Crobot right now. It looks like he's going to play. I'm like, oh, that's so disappointing. Then last minute, Jake comes out. Jake Figueroa. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, I see you, Jake. He got a haircut. His afro, his trademark afro is gone, so it's like nice and low. I was like, oh, this is going to be a kick-ass show. And when I say it was, me and Samuel were killing it. I didn't have hair back then. I had very, very razor-thin hair. So Crobot's playing, we're headbanging, and the cool thing was Samuel takes off his scrunchie. He has long, beautiful, Jesus-like hair. So he's headbanging, and I'm headbanging, and we were talking with security, having a good old time. So they came out, they played Skull Geronimo, Easy Money, The Legend of the Spaceborne Killer was 3 with a bass solo. 4 was Not For Sale. 5, La Mano de Lucifer, and I remember it started to drizzle a little bit when they were talking about it. It's like, this one's like a song for Satan and stuff like that. La Mano de Lucifer, the hand of Satan. That's Spanish if you don't know. But it did start to rain. I was like, ooh, okay. So the whole time during this set, I'm like, play Mammoths! And I'm right at the stage, maybe, let's say realistically less than 5 feet away. And I was like, play Mammoths! Nothing. Play Mammoths! Play Mammoths! So they're at the end of the set, and I'll never forget this. Jake looks at Bishop, and he's like, and Bishop's like, okay. And then all of a sudden, doo-doo-doo, yeah! I remember that part where there's a breakdown right before it goes into the song, and I jumped up, just waving my head back and forth like Brandon would. That's their lead singer. If you haven't seen that guy perform, he's got it down. He's got that whole mystical frontman look to him. The moves, everything just works. So thoroughly enjoyed that. And afterwards, security led us not in the back but to the front because we had such good rapport with them that I was able to get Bishop, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, Brandon's signature's on this too. If you can see, somebody can validate that for me. But I do remember I was trying to get IDs. And I was trying to help Sarah out at MMR. I don't know why I was thinking that. I should have just got an ID for me. But I said, hey, just say an ID. I was trying to get IDs for everybody. Marcus, Sarah, everybody. They had their own passes backstage. I don't know why I was stupid. I was young and excited. So anyway, so me and Samuel walk around. We see the last couple of songs. I think we saw Thank You for Seven Dust. I wanted to see Seven Dust, but I think they were playing during Crobot. So possibly not. I don't know. But we were walking around, and FYE was there. Now, when I was a kid, I used to always buy everything from FYE. Even though, like, my first CDs were from Best Buy, FYE was my store to buy stuff, even though it was overpriced. So I saw the manager there, and I was like, "Oh man, how you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, good, busy day, you know." So it was great to see him. I also saw a girl, bless her, she just had her first kid. We're friends now, but when I met her, I was at my other job. I was pumping gas, and I talked to her, and then every now and again, I knew she worked for FYE. I'd see her, but she saw me there, and it was really awkward. She looked at me, and I was like, "Oh, hey," and she's like, "Hey," and then walked away. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm moving on." Know what that means, but it was just cool to be there, and I was enjoying the moment so much. I had to pick up a Slayer CD, their new album at the time, Repentless. If you can't see it, I'm sorry. Reflection is too much, but you get the idea. Look it up online. So the coolest thing during that time, me and Samuel are walking around, and we saw a little bit of Mice and Men. We saw Killswitch Engage, which they did My Curse, Strength of Mind, Rose of Sharon, Hate by Design for My Last Serenade was 5, 6 End of Heartache, 7 Holy Diver cover, 8 was In Due Time. And one thing I do remember specifically, I haven't wrote a note, is the guitarist was calling to see breasts. He's like, "We want to see tits. We want to see some juicy tits, fat, small, tall, short, all that." I remember that specifically because nobody there should have been flashing at all. So me and Samuel were walking about, and there's this like guitar, not center, but there's like this guitar display for a company. So there's all these kids playing, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Give me a guitar." So I plug in, and I'm not in tune, but I'm somewhat in tune. So I tune it up, and I'm looking. There's about 5, 6 of us just there playing guitar, and I was like, "Hey guys, does anybody know any songs? I think we could all play together." So it's like, "Yeah, we know some songs." I was like, "Okay, let's do this." So I initiated it, and then we all started playing Megadeth and Metallica songs. We definitely went through Symphony of Destruction. I'm pretty sure we went through Seek and Destroy. No, we did, because that was the one I did solo on. Because out of the songs we were doing, we did more than 2 songs. Because we definitely did For Whom the Bells Tolls, because I was doing the bass part on guitar, which I love doing. We did Symphony of Destruction, and when we got to Seek and Destroy, I think because I called it, I was the one that was to do the solos, because it was just kind of given. Some of us would do the solos and stuff. So I don't know if I sounded good, I don't know if I sounded bad, but I specifically remember BSing whatever I could and just hoping it sounded good. But we played through those songs in its entirety, and this guy was videotaping us as we were. I don't know if there's any footage out there of it, but I do remember thinking like, "Oh, this is awesome." Now, I do remember feeling singled out as well, because we went to go play one. I was like, "Oh, I really don't know one," and this big kid, obviously he just wanted to join in. I don't give him crap for that, but he's like, "Oh, I know, give me your guitar." I was like, "Why you want my guitar?" And I just kind of took it off. I was like, "All right, whatever, man. Here you go. Come on, Samuel, let's go." Which I feel bad, because Samuel was waiting for me to go do other stuff, and I kind of just left him on the side. So that was a D move on me, especially with my phone about to die. So I was like, poor Samuel. I'm sorry, man. I owe you one for that. So we go see Anthrax. Now, it was a little weird to see Anthrax in that setting, because it wasn't as hype as I was expecting. And it wasn't Anthrax's fault. I think it was just the idea that it wasn't just outside, but it was a long day. And it's a lot of people, a lot of energy. And you can't sustain all that energy all day long. Just there, yeah. So it wasn't Anthrax's fault, because Anthrax kicks so much ass. And you know this, man. It was the crowd. So they came out, played Caught in a Mosh, got the time, a Joe Jackson cover. If you do not have Joe Jackson's album, any of them, go buy one. He's a master of music. It's amazing. So number 3 was Find 'Em Till You Can't. 4 was Antisocial. That's a Trust cover. 5, Breathing Lightning. 6, Indians. And they did an extended intro, and the band stopped. It's like, "No, we want to see you get hype. Let's see you get hype. War Dance!" And then they kept it pushing. We saw Chevelle. I wasn't the biggest fan of Chevelle, and it was kind of painful to watch them. Not saying their music's bad, it's just not for me. I did actually meet the blonde player from Chevelle. I got his autograph too, but I just don't know. But that was the end of the night. So we're chilling, we're waiting. We're on about the left side. If you're looking at the stage, it's the right side. But we're on the left side in the nosebleeds, and Volebeat comes out. And they played The Devil's Bleeding Crown. 2 was Hallelujah / Warrior's Call / I Only Want to Be With You. 3 was the Ring of Fire snippet with Sad Man's Tongue. 4 was Lola Montez, my song. 5 was, it says Slay Fan or Slate 10? I don't know. It says SLAY and then TAN or FAN. Either way. 6, Dead But Rising. Another fun song. $16 was 7 with the Back in Black snippet. Black Rose was 8. Doc Holliday 9. The Mirror and the Ripper was 10. Seal the Deal, which was really big at the time, was 11, and then Still Counting was 12. Ever since their bassist left, I just don't get this. I don't get the same jollies from them, and I don't know if it's, that Michael Poulsen's can be a jerk. I've had 2 separate interests in. Excuse me. Cut it. Let's restart. I've had 2 separate instances where I know a radio personality tried to interview him, and he was just a jerk. And Rob Caggiano used to be in Anthrax. He's their now guitarist. Would have called in. It's like, no, he was just having a bad day, blah blah blah, and then it happened again. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's because my perception has changed. Most of the rock stars I've dealt with, if not all of them, every rock star I've met has been personable, even if they didn't say much. So I can't be upset. So, if anything, I was like, okay, whatever. But I think that's done damage to how much I like Volebeat. But something about their live game. It's not like when I first saw them at the Barbecue in 2014. Something's off. So, then we saw Slayer. They played Repentless, The Antichrist. 3 was Disciple. 4, War Ensemble. 5, Mandatory Suicide. 6, Fight Till Death. 7, Dead Skin Mask. With Rock Allegiance talking intro. He addressed Rock Allegiance. 8 was Season of the Abyss. 9 was Hate Worldwide. 10 was South of Heaven. 11, Raining Blood. Hell Awaits was 12. It says no intro. And then the number 13 was Angel of Death. I do believe this is probably the last time I saw Slayer live. That marks 3. I've seen them 3 times. Now, currently, Slayer has they've retired. They're not doing it anymore. And kind of bittersweet. I wish I was a little bit more into it, but it was at this time. It's nighttime. I'm starting to feel it. I'm tired. I'm drifting back and forth, and of course at this time I'm still working overnight. So this is the part where it gets hard for Samuel. We go to the other side of the stadium now. If you're on stage, you're looking to the left. We're on the right side now. We wait for Avenged Sevenfold. I was not the biggest Avenged Sevenfold fan, but they had songs I loved. Hail to the King is such an instrumental album in teaching me how to drum and getting used to hitting and playing on beat and figuring out different sounds, because I'm not a real classically trained drummer. I'm self-taught and I love doing it. Listen, let me tell you, when I tell you I'll be hitting one simple focus, camera focus, you can do it. It's me right here. I wonder if this will work. Yes, it will. So when I tell you, when I first got my drum set, I had one cymbal, and I would play it like this. I'd do everything I could, and then just play one cymbal. Now I got a bunch of cymbals, so I can go back and forth and do all the fun stuff. Check out my cymbal video on YouTube. So, I'm watching Avenged Sevenfold, and again, Hail to the King is my album. But everything else, I don't know. I know, of course, because of Madden, NFL 2006. Maybe 2005. I don't know. Maybe I made a mistake. But either way, everybody knows It's Your Nightmare, and everybody knows Backcountry. So, for me, I was there to see Hail to the King. That was my song at the time. And Shepherd of Fire is another song that I still love. So, that was what I was there to see. When I say that, up till that date, that was the only time I fell asleep at a show. That was the only time I fell asleep at a show. I've done it 3 times. This was the absolute first time I fell asleep at a show. So, they come out, they play Nightmare, kick ass, they play Aftermath, Shepherd of Fire, I'm into it. Hail to the King, I'm into it. Burned Alive, starting to fade. Gunslinger, starting to fade hard. Now, Samuel's like, John, let's go. I'm like, nah, man, we paid for these tickets even though I got them for free. No, man, we paid for parking. We ride these shows out to the end. And I'm a firm believer. If you go to a show, you wait to the end. You watch it till the very last note, and then you're done. So, at that point, John fell asleep. I fell asleep and didn't see To the End of Rapture, The Second Heartbeat, Plan, etc., or Planets. Maybe it's Planets. And then I woke up sometime around Acid Rain. Gone. Poor Samuel was stuck there because I had the car keys. And he was not happy. So, I woke up to Bat Country. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, I'm alive! Caught here in America, somewhere where you could bear. Stupid stuff. And then Unholy Confession, and then it ended. That was the night of Rock Allegiance. And poor Samuel. He had to suffer all that. And he was like, hey, man, I love you, but we're not doing that again. I was like, I understand. There's no problem whatsoever. So, I was like, alrighty. We did it. We saw them. I'm super happy about this. That was a show that I look back on fond memories. But again, it was a good experience. I feel worse for Samuel. But I dropped Samuel off back at his home. I dropped off the camera at Stefan's. And then I went home and just went business as usual. But it was definitely worth it. I'm happy I got to see Slayer the final time. That whole situation with Crobot actually got fixed, because I can't mention the person who contacted me back in their management, but he's like, hey, it looks like you're from Jersey. I'm from Jersey too. I'm sorry we weren't able to make it work out, but if you're still interested in an interview, we're more than willing. Who do you want to interview? Jake Figueroa. And I got to interview him. Coolest dude. And he was at home in New Jersey. He even mentioned, he's like, yeah, man, after this, I'm going to go cook some food, some rice and chicken. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, man. That's awesome. That interview was so fun to do at WYBF over the phone. And he did me a solid. He did his ID. And I said, could you please say you're the world's greatest fucking bass player? He's like, oh, yeah, I can. This is Jake Figueroa, the world's greatest fucking bass player. And then I would always play that right into Mammoths. I love that guy. Sadly, him and his brother left Crobot, and there's a whole new crew. And, I just think they had so much potential. They're still going strong, releasing music, I'm assuming. But that crew, I was like, wow, man, that was something great. But that was one of the positive things I got from going to that show and seeing him. It's like, hey, man, I remember you guys did this and that. And I just want to ask you about, like, what inspired you. It was really cool. Because I remember speaking to Brandon. I was like, yo, man, I'm going to be talking to you soon. You're going to see me real soon. He's like, okay, man. But those whole guys in Crobot, just really nice dudes. All of them. So that was what I got from it. And then other than the CD for Repentless and, Memories, it was a great time. But I think the biggest thing I needed to take from that show was me leading the orchestra of those guitarists. Because when I think back on certain things, I'm like, you know what, every now and again, you see something, and you don't say anything, but that was one time I was like, it doesn't take much to get the ball rolling for something really cool to happen, and I'm happy. I had to been, it's 2020 now, 126, 27, no, sorry, I did that back, do it backwards. Do math with me, people, help me out. 26, 25, 24, 23. So I was 23 at the time, and it was a really good time. So, guys, did you go to Rock Allegiance? Have you seen any of those bands? What were your favorite shows from those bands? Tell me in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you as always. And a bittersweet, awesome show, but very painful at the same time. It's going to be next time on the Concert Resume. AC/DC with Axl Rose at the Wells Fargo Center. Concert number 26. Till next time. Be smart. Be mindful. And God bless, guys. I'll catch you next time.